Hey, it's Matt. In this episode of MPTV, we're in sunny San Diego with Chef Santiago of the Donut Bar, one of my favorites. We visited here a few years back, me, my wife, my kids, on our West Coast trip down the Pacific Coast Highway, and I got to see firsthand the genius that is the Donut Bar marketing. We're also going to talk about his love and his passion for creating unique donuts. Come inside. What's up, it's Matt. We're back with another episode of MPTV. This time we're on the best coast, I guess the West Coast. We're at Donut Bar with Chef Santiago. What's going on?
How are you, Matt?
I'm living the dream, especially with these amazing donuts in front of me. This is gonna be tough not to eat them during the interview.
West Coast, baby, and everybody thinks on the West Coast we're all just about the sun and fitness, right?
We're about donuts here.
We
about
fit
fitting this in my mouth.
In your mouth, absolutely. That's what we do. Yeah, so welcome, man. West Coast, you're doing it.
Love it. So tell everybody who you are, what Donut Bar is.
I appreciate that. So I'm Chef Santiago. We're at Donut Bar in beautiful downtown San Diego. And Donut Bar started back in March of 2013. So we've been doing it for 8 years now. And we've been fortunate enough and maybe hardworking enough to be voted #1 donut shop by so many different publications and online reviews and magazines and the whole bit. Some of my proudest points, I guess, would be Forbes, the gold standard of donut shops. Who knew there was a gold standard of donut shops that Forbes does?
Yeah.
They do.
They do it.
Or they did. And we're it. TripAdvisor, that's really exciting for us. On TripAdvisor, we received their certificate of excellence, which is kind of cool. That means that for 5 years consistently, you've been the #1 restaurant in your category. Okay. And for us, what really impresses me with it, it's not just donuts, it's actually, we're #1 bakery in all of San Diego.
Wow.
And there's some for 5 years straight, so that's kind of cool. And then of course there's the Yelp and everything else, but you know what's really fun to me is some of the independent, smaller ones that are coming out and breaking out, and they've got a really good, loyal fan base. So I'm really liking to see some of these reviews coming out.
Well, you've got a great brand. I remember when I first came in touch with you, we were planning a trip down the Pacific Coast Highway.
Sure.
Me, my wife, and daughter and son back in 2019. We took 19 days and went down the coast.
Sounds like a dream.
It was great. Ended in San Diego. And what we did was my daughter and myself got online. She's big on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook.
Yep.
And we found the places that were trending and that we knew about that were awesome. And I had seen you on Ellen.
Right.
I had seen your product out there because you're a master marketer and salesman. And I'm like, we got to stop by to see if it's legit.
Yeah, what is this place,
and
right?
It was. I mean, we literally stayed down here by Petco Park. We scootered up here on Birds and ate way too many donuts. Sat right in the chairs behind the camera.
Right there, you were there, yeah. And the fun part and the amazing part, I guess, Matt, is that after all those years, we're still standing. What the country's been through, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I always equate that to, if you have a really good product and you're not too far out of the box, if you will, from what the product should be, you're going to survive, right? And I feel so bad. So many of the restaurants haven't survived what's happened.
Yep.
So we're fortunate, we're lucky, but it doesn't come, I say luck, but I should pull that back just a little bit. We are excited that we're still here, but it hasn't been without its hiccups. Yep. It's been a lot of work, right? So that's what's made it last. And every single day, whenever I come in, I still act as if it's my very first day opening.
Yep.
So it's like, we're only good as we were yesterday. Yep. In my opinion, I'm only as good as I am right now today, right? So we have to hit all those notes every single day.
Well, I think that's important because a lot of operators, I've heard them tell their staff that this might be the customer's first time ever here. This might be their last time ever here, especially in San Diego with tourists. I mean, that was my first time here,
right?
And I've been been back since then. But you've got to perform your best.
Really
Otherwise, you give them, like we went to a restaurant yesterday, and it was like we were a hassle that we were there because the server didn't want to be there.
This is what I tell all my employees when we go through orientation, right? You could go to the very nicest restaurant there is in the world, and you can order your favorite dish, and you've been looking forward to this dish for sometimes years, months, weeks. You finally get to that restaurant, the food, you see it on other tables, it's looking fantastic, it smells perfect. I'll use a New York strip, my favorite going out to eat meal, right? And that steak can absolutely be the best steak that was just set in front of you. However, if that staff member comes in and slides that plate across, doesn't look you in the eye, spins around and walks away, and you still don't have your fork or napkin or whatever it might be that you're looking for, or just some acknowledgement, suddenly what happens is it sours your taste. Literally, I think there's something physically that happens to your body and now that steak isn't good anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So it goes back to the old adage of sell the sizzle, right? Yeah. Not the steak, it's the sizzle. And suddenly that meal is ruined. I feel bad for the operator, the owner, the chef, and it can be one employee that drops everything on its behind, right? One of the fun things about Donut Bar is, I tell my staff this, all of our reviews, it's an interesting thing. I'm not saying our food isn't great, our customer service is excellent. What ends up happening is about 60% of our reviews actually speak of the customer service before they speak of the food.
That's awesome.
Kind of neat. But they love the food, don't get me wrong, but customer service is definitely the secret.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The other side of it is that I've been to restaurants where the service has been phenomenal and the food just okay.
Right.
But they made it better. And they made me want to come back to that environment and spend time there because you go out a lot of times, it's like me, it's with my wife. My daughter came home from college Saturday. We went to dinner Saturday night because she knew I was flying out here West Coast. That's why she came home a couple hours away. And it wasn't necessarily the food. It was the people around us, and it was how we were treated.
It really makes the world of difference. And everybody now, time is the number one commodity, they say, right? So if you're going to go out to eat, you want really good food, but it's the experience too. So that's kind of what we've created here. We have a really good product, and we have really good customer service. And then to follow that part up, the third part is letting the world know about it. As the saying goes, you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows what you have, just stay at home, right? So it's important to keep on pushing that marketing. And sometimes we get to a point where, we might have reached right now a critical mass with our reviews, where it's going to take something really catastrophic for our 5-star review to drop, because we have so many of them. But that doesn't mean that we can kick back on our laurels and say, we're going to be okay. Get back to that every single day is our first day. Every customer walking in, like you said, to your point, that might be their very first time in there. So to expand on that, whenever somebody comes into Donut Bar, they walk in the line. On the weekends, they're standing up, maybe queued up for 45 minutes, sometimes an hour in line before they get there. They're pretty excited. We have that expectation really high. That bar is set so high. Double-edged sword, though. With that bar being set so high, we can let them fall really quick if we do not deliver on it. So we have to deliver on it. I always say, once a customer walks in our door and they actually get engaged with an employee at the counter and they start their Donut Bar order, they're in line on average about 2.5 minutes from the time they get up to the glass case, down to the register. It's my job, my staff's job, to turn that person not into a customer, but an ambassador of our brand. Whenever I really know that we've hit that mark, isn't that they just bought a whole bunch of donuts more than they wanted to, but whenever they start looking at the merchandise too. Because now I'm thinking, wow, it's great to have a sale with the merch, but now I'm thinking, or it's proven to me, like, these people are behind the brand. This is their donut shop now, right?
Oh, it happened to us.
Right, and you get excited about it. It happened to you. I'm happy to hear that.
It happened to us. We're down there, and some people are in line. They've never been here before. And I couldn't help myself. I'm like, you've got to get the Pop-Tart one. What's your favorite Pop-Tart? He said strawberry. You got to get that one. And the maple bacon glaze is amazing. You got to get that. And then I'm looking around like, well, David, we got to leave with some socks, because I got my donut socks on today just for you.
Oh, I appreciate that. I
got to get my donut bar donut socks when we leave here.
Yep.
I want to go back to something that I've seen you talk about in interviews countless times online, because I've studied you, because I think you're a master sales and marketer.
Appreciate that.
But the one thing I've noticed.
And chef.
And chef, yeah. He is pretty darn good there. So the one thing I've noticed that you've said is that, and you said it a minute ago, is that you keep the donuts to their roots.
Right.
Like, I've been to donut places where you get there and it's a donut with like, I went to one place, had crazy cereal on top of it. The cereal was stale. The donut tasted like crap. Your donuts, even though they're giant, audacious, they are to the roots of what most donuts start as.
I always say that, right? We can go crazy and say, we're going to do something. And we have done some crazy. Like, we have a big Pop-Tart donut, right? We have a Pop-Tart stuffed in it. That's about as crazy as we go. But, there's this little corner that we set in at Donut Bar where we want to stick to the basics and the original. But what I want to do is do those same donuts, those classics, the best they can be. For instance, if I'm going to make a Boston cream donut, I'm using the best ingredients. We're using vanilla bean whenever I'm making the custard for the Boston cream. And to give you an idea, vanilla bean right now, for a gallon, is $235, so the best price you can find. And I've studied. So we're using top shelf ingredients. And I always say this, whenever I opened up a Donut Bar, donuts have been around for the ages, but nobody really perfected them. Sure, Voodoo Donuts came out before we did, They didn't work on perfecting them. They worked on making them crazy. Shout out to them, fantastic. I'll never take digs in another donut shop. Hard industry to be in, a lot of hard work, a lot of passion, a lot of love for whatever you're doing. I didn't want to go crazy with the donuts. I wanted a distinct donut. In marketing, we know we have to have something distinct. Yep. But what I really wanted to concentrate on first and foremost is the quality ingredients. So some of those things that we do is we'll use real ingredients like real vanilla bean paste versus just an imitation vanilla, whatever they call it. I don't even know what it is. We don't use them. Yeah. The additives, whatever it is, right? The flavor.
Fake flavors.
The fake flavors. We don't use that. We'll use the authentic flavor to get the right flavor profiles. Whenever we're making our yeast donuts, I use real wet yeast, an active live yeast versus a dry powder yeast. Okay. So those small little steps, I think, help keep that customer coming back and helps them become an ambassador. The last thing I want to ever be is just a tourist trap. Yep. I learned my craft and my skill working at 5-star hotels in Hawaii, right? I worked for Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, Hyatt hotels, and that's what was instilled in me, is that we really want to create, and if we're going to create, we're going to do it the best we can. Versus, you go to some of the little trinket shops in Hawaii, a tourist trap, and you're just there for the one time. You're not going to come back to it, right? So I've just always wanted to set myself apart and say, if we're going to do it, let's do it the best we can.
And you've created a great product that is what I would say, good on the gram, Instagrammable,
very Instagrammable.
Great on TikTok. But it also is amazing. We went on we were on a ski trip in Canada a couple years ago, and there was a place that had made its rounds that was in Calgary, where we flew into. That was this great place with milkshakes and donuts combined.
That's fun, yeah.
And it looked awesome.
Right?
Terrible.
Taste, yeah.
We got there, and it was funny because I saw everything on social on the front end, but I looked on the back end. There's no reviews. There's no traction. I'm like, why? This looks awesome. We get there, and I'm like, it's a terrible donut. It's an even worse milkshake. The toppings are stale.
Right.
Yeah, you made a really good-looking product, but there's nobody ever coming back.
Yeah, and you don't want to be the one-hit wonder, right? Yeah. I always tell my son, who works for me now, right? He's how old is that kid now? He's about to be 21. He's worked for me for 8 years. Whenever he was 16, he finally comes to me and says, Dad, isn't there something I need to get called a work permit? And I'm like, oh, now I have to start paying him. But what we do is we understand the fact that we want those customers to really enjoy what the product is. And you talk about me being a salesman, you should hear him. He is so, but here's the thing, he knows enough about the product and the brand, he knows what the ingredients are, he makes the donuts with me. So he knows, so he's able to express that energy and excitement into what we have going on here, and that just transcends and carries over. Again, just like I said with marketing, you can have the best product in the world, but unless the people know about it, stay home. The same thing whenever you're a chef and you're running a restaurant, if you're using quality ingredients, let it be known to your customers. And it's not going to work with just a poster or a billboard. You have to continually beat it into their heads that this is why you're paying a premium. Yep. It's really good product. It's not necessarily about the crazy build-outs and the overheads, and because who cares about that? At the end of the day, the customer, they want to be comfortable and have a fun environment, but your food's got to hit, right? So my maple bacon, he'll hear him go on and on about the vanilla bean, the maple bacon. We use real Vermont maple syrup in it. I use center cut bacon. Now then, I could sell a donut and I could probably cut my food cost in half, but I wouldn't have the quality. And guess what else I wouldn't have? A business. It would be gone. It wouldn't be here for 8 years. That was my point earlier. I said to my son, there are beautiful businesses that have millions and millions of dollars thrown into them that don't have a year run, a 2-year run. Yeah. We have an 8-year run, and we're still going strong.
And those lines are out the door all the time.
Out the door. It's amazing to me. And, I'm humbled by it. I thank the guests. Sometimes I sincerely, because I wear my heart on my sleeve. And if I get talking to it too much with my customer base standing outside, because I go out and I greet them all and we talk, it almost brings me to tears that they're standing in line for 40 minutes to make something, to buy something that I make. That's amazing, right? Yep. And it's not just that. I tell my staff, it's the backstories too. They've traveled, they've waited, they've thought about coming here. You've thought about coming here. So many people, they base their vacation around Donut Bar, and it's time and time again on our review sites. We had an option to go anywhere we wanted, and San Diego won because we wanted to come to Donut Bar. Yep. So that's pretty cool. And so to me, just the everything it's taken them to get here. Kids had to do homework. Kids had to take out the trash, clean their room. There's so many little tiny steps that we don't realize. Finding parking. We're in downtown.
Yeah.
It shouldn't work here, Matt.
Yeah.
This place should not work
There's zero
here.
parking.
There's zero parking. People are walking blocks. And sometimes you're going to pay $25 to park. I hear that. We paid $25 to park. I'm like, well, there's a free parking lot down the street.
Yeah.
You just park there. But they'll write you a ticket, but it's a fake ticket. But you know, all those backstories, right? And as restaurateurs, as business owners, we can never discount how much it takes to get people in the door, right? I can spend all the time and energy I want on marketing, have the best staff, training, retreats, all the things that we want to do as great companies, but unless we're hitting every note every single day when customers walk in, really important. Especially now with the economy the way it is, the way the whole world has changed. Your customer base has never been more important than right now, and we have to treat each and every single customer that walks in as they are the people that are supporting the business.
See, I want to tie that back to our company, one of our company missions. So
Yes.
I wrote down the other day our why for our business,
Okay.
and I've talked to about it, like what we're trying to accomplish. And
Sure.
I make sure all of our employees know, make sure our clients know, make sure people we're trying to help get the word out about their restaurants. And my number one why is to help restaurants find more frequent customers.
Okay?
Because at the end of the day, you don't want infrequent. You need the person that's going to come back over and over.
Every single day. Yeah.
So with America's Best Restaurants, our goal is how do we help connect restaurants to customers that are going to come all the time?
Right.
One of the key ingredients is what you have that you realize you have, maybe not as much, is a restaurant. So we've researched this.
Okay.
We've researched what made the difference. Tom, who's back here during the pandemic, looked at a lot of the clients we worked with and said, why are they working so well when they have no dine-in and they had 100% dine-in a year ago?
Right.
And that was their business.
And?
It was because there was a person inside the four walls that actually cared.
Yeah.
And that walks out. I've seen on Instagram. I've seen you on the sidewalk going, what's up? Sunday morning, 9 o'clock.
Sure.
Most operators like you are at home.
Or hitting the golf links, you know.
You're here going.
I want to be.
Yeah. You're on the street. You've got the
Right.
Ferrari, which is our next topic.
Yeah.
But you're on the street going, hey, it's Donut Bar. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you taking. You're out there marketing, but you're inside your four walls all the time.
You know, and that's the tough part, because as business owners, right, we all want to have a business and we want to build that business, and it's the dream, the fantasy that at some point we can be on the beach sipping a Corona down in Mexico and having a great time, and that business is still operating. Really tough to do in the restaurant industry. Hats off to the big companies that are able to pull that off. Mom and pop shops, that's a tough, hard one to make happen, right? And you've helped me with some of the marketing. I do a lot of marketing, and I like grassroots stuff, and that's what you're talking about, and I love that, and I enjoy that. But to be able to break away to get to that next level where you're able to walk away from it, in a small business like this, I don't think, well, I know for a fact that it's going to take a bit of a dip.
Yeah.
It might not close. Like I said, we've reached a critical mass with our reviews, with our popularity, where I probably could walk away for a short time.
Yeah.
But we're going to see definitely, it's going to dive, and I don't want to. And maybe that's where the difference is, right? If you're, and people say, don't fall in love with your business, but love your business. Well, sometimes you're passionate and you are in love with your business. And like I say now, I'm just at the helm of the ship. I'm just steering it now. It's running on its own per se, but if I go to sleep in the captain's quarters, we're going to get off course. So we have to stay on course. So just to your point, yeah, it depends on what you want out of life. If you really want a small business that's strong and successful and is going to afford you all of the things that you want, then you're going to have to stay in the business. Very important though, what is it you want? Do you want to be in Mexico for 2 weeks at a time every month? Yep. Maybe you might not want to be in the restaurant business. Yep. Or if you do, don't set your standards so high. Yep. Make sure you have a business that you can do the numbers and you know that it's going to fall. But every single day, I just want to go more. And the bad part about it is it's almost like an addiction, if you will. In the beginning, we started. Now we're 8 years. We've definitely plateaued, right? We've had our plateau, but we want to keep that high level. It was addicting because it kept on getting better and better. And guess what? I learned with the business. As the business grew, I grew. As a business owner, as an operator, and I knew what it took. Until suddenly I wouldn't stop. And I found myself in this thing where, darn it, man, I'm here 7 days a week, but I love it.
Yeah.
You have to love it.
But here's the difference too, what we found with that. We talk about operators that are in their four walls that lead to success. Mm-hmm. And the one aspect we found was I was actually meeting with a CEO that has a lot of locations a while back.
Yeah.
And I pointed out as a joking way, but I was right. I said, hey, Here's 4 of your restaurants. And I know all 4 of them very well, except I don't know the 2 because you hired us to run those for you, the marketing.
Right.
I know these first 2 really well. Same amount of money spent on Facebook and Instagram ads, same amount of reach, same amount of impressions.
Sure.
The engagement on these bottom 2 is 90% less.
Okay.
The shares are 90% less, and everything after that's 90% less. I said, I said, can I make a guess? He goes, what? I said, this store is owned by an attorney who bought it as an investment, passive income, and this one is owned by somebody probably back of house because their front end, like their reviews are amazing from a quality standpoint.
Right.
But I said the thing they have in common is nobody knows their name, and their employees treat them as a number. The other 2 that kill it on the shares and the engagement on social and the reviews are people that are in their stores and they walk in, they know their name, and they're not a number, they're a person in the business. Yeah. And that's what you have here.
Right.
And that's a key component of growing correctly.
It is.
Having people that know that you actually give a shit that they're here.
You really have to do that if you want that. Some people don't want it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's bad. It's what you want, right? So that I think then that's what you're seeking out to find. You like to find these operators that are passionate about it because think about it, it's kind of sexy almost, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow, you love this so much.
It's fun.
You're going to keep on rocking it every single day, and you're content and you're happy with it. And that's my biggest thing is I'm okay with it. I don't know what else I would do. What else am I going to do? I have to own a restaurant. I have to. And so many people tell me down on customers, guests that come in here, and they tell me like, wow, you have definitely found your calling, haven't you? And that's kind of cool, right?
It's awesome.
Even though sometimes I step back and I'm like, that's it? But I love it. No, it's a good calling, you know. But you just have to know who you are and where you are. And as people, we grow, right? Spiritually, intellectually. And maybe what I like right now, I might not like in 8 years from now. But I've had an 8-year run, and I'm looking forward to the next 8 years. It hasn't beat me up yet. Sometimes I feel like it. We all do, right? But that's whenever we have to reach out, and you have to hire those professionals that can help you. Kind of like you, right? You got to hire somebody that can say, hey, let me take the reins from here. Or at least help you with it a little bit, right? Guide the light. So that's what my story is at Donut Bar, my man.
So my last question, I got a last question and a quick, and I know the answer to the very last one.
I don't think it's his last question.
It's the second to last.
Okay, break time. Restaurant owners, you're watching MPTV, so you're obviously interested in increasing your sales and profits. But what if I told you you could eliminate the hope and pray out of your marketing? You could spend money and actually see results. You know, most marketing starts with attention, like a billboard. The problem is that attention leads nowhere. That's why we created the ROI Engine restaurant program. We take attention and gain huge engagement, whether it's in-store or online. We help you build a database with deep customer information that's comprised of email, cell phone, and birthday. And then we drive them into the restaurant with trackable results. Yes, results you can actually see. If you're interested and want to have a conversation, check out restaurantmarketingthatworks.com. Worst case scenario, you get a lot of great ideas. Now back to the show.
Is you convinced me, I've always had sports cars.
Yeah.
But I've always kept them privately.
Sure.
Because it's just not my personality. But
right.
I knew there was a reason to use my orange Lamborghini in a different manner.
Ooh, now you're talking my language.
And this past month or two, we've started rolling it out, marketing the company, and it's really helped a lot of our customers connect.
Yeah.
I had a customer today come up and say, well, if you've got an orange Lamborghini and it's tied in with the company, I'm going to guess you're probably the right person to work with. Right. But it catches attention.
Sure does.
You've got the Ferrari.
Yeah.
And that Ferrari catches attention, especially like you deliver donuts to weddings.
Yes.
In the freaking Ferrari. So talk about what got you to combine your passion for cars with the business and show it. Versus being scared of people going, oh my God, this is a donut place. The guy's got a Ferrari.
Right. You know, and that there's a fine line there, Matt. There really is. Especially whenever you're selling donuts, right? They think, is there something else to it? But here's the thing. Let's get to the grassroots of it all, right? First, I'll tell you why I have an exotic car. Help me get back to how it affects the morale of your staff too.
Okay.
Another double-edged sword there. So I got the exotic cars, and I started this about, whenever I opened up Donut Bar back in March of 2013, I was working my tail off, there's no doubt about it, and I used to take naps in front of the shop because I was working a legit 20-hour days, making the donuts, creating the donuts, selling the donuts, interviews, everything. And I'd sleep in my Jeep. That was fine. Donut Bar started doing really well, so I bought my first exotic car. No, I bought a Porsche.
Yeah.
Exotic to me at the time. I got into the exotic car thing. The first one I bought, to me, which was exotic at the time, a Porsche.
Yep.
And I loved it. And I didn't really show it off to too many people. Kind of like you were thinking, like, how do you break through on that to where, what am I going to use this for? I didn't want to tell my staff I had it at the time, because that can really change your staff's perception of you. They're like, I'm buying his Porsche now? I come every day to work. There's always going to be that business owner and line level staff, right? We want to take care of our employees really well, and we do, but we're taking all the risk as the business owner, right? So we should be rewarded. So I got the Porsche, loved it, enjoyed it. It wasn't until the business really took off that I said, you know what, I think I can afford the next step, and I'm going to get a Lamborghini. So I too bought a Lamborghini. And then...
What color was it?
Oh, okay, so the Lamborghini, it's fun. It started off as black, and then it went gold, and then it went white and gold. And here's the funny part. It had all these different variations of it. So some of my customers that still come in from 7 years ago, they're like, he has like 3 Lamborghinis and there's a Bugatti, I think. It's like, no, but it's fun, right? So it's progressed. Now I have a Ferrari, and it's about time to get something different now. But here's the thing. How do you pull it in to your company, and why do you pull it into your company, and how do you not look like a pretentious exotic car guy?
Yeah.
Ugh, those guys. This is how you do it. You're humble about it. Some of the things that I do with my Ferrari. I pull up in front on the weekend, and at first people don't know what to expect unless they've been following social media. So they're waiting for that show. We've set that level high. Some of the people, it's their first time here, and they maybe not have followed it as lovingly as other fans have. So I have to let them know what's going on. This is what's going on. I pull the Ferrari up to the front. It's a marketing tool 100%, and I get to be the driver of it. I pull it up, I leave the windows down, doors unlocked. As I hop out, something like, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Donut Bar. I'm Chef Santiago. Because at first, they're like, who's the cool guy pulling up in his car? Great, right? I get out, I greet them. Then they're like, oh, okay, it's the owner. Then I let them know how excited I am that they're there. And I let them know I'm leaving the door open on the Ferrari. Windows are down. You guys hop in it and share it. This thing is fun. I love my cars. If you guys know about me, I love cars. I want you guys to enjoy it too. Then I'll make a little jokes like, depending on how many donuts you bought, that's your fractional ownership. Real small. I said in it. You get out. Keys in my pocket. Bye. And so I do things like that.
You're an investor in the Donut Bar Ferrari.
Right. You're going to love this one being a dad. Father's Day, right? Line down the block around the corner. Hour and 40-minute wait to get in. I come in early, and then I leave, shower, clean, come back. I'm all fresh and ready for my Sunday Father's Day, right? I pull up in the Ferrari, and there's the first customers there. Those are real fans. They've been waiting in line for over an hour before we even opened the doors. And there's a family there. They're from out of town, Midwest somewhere, I forget. And the dad, it was 3 generations. It was a grandpa, a dad, and the son, the grandson, if you will. And I pull up, and the grandpa, old guy, leave me the key. He doesn't know who I am at first, right? I'm just the guy in the Ferrari. And I was like, you know what, better than that? I don't like this parking spot. Hop in with me. And they all looked at you like, who is this guy? Even though I'm in my chef's uniform, they're not quickly analyzing things. I was like, this is my shop. Chef Santiago, good morning, everybody. Hi to the whole line. I was like, hop in. Let's go around the block. He hops in. I wasn't even planning on doing this, Matt. Take him around the block. Grandpa has the best time. I pull back up. This is the part that gives me the, I love it. Pull back up. I was like, you know what? This is fun. My staff's got this. They're going to be okay. We're opening up in a few minutes.
All day.
Is there any other dads? I'm looking for dads that want to go for a ride around the Ferrari. And they're still like, what's going on here? And I'm like, Chef Santiago, this is my Ferrari. This is my shop. Welcome. This is for dads only. Guess what every dad did? Right. No, take my kid. I had to put my foot down though, Matt, and said, no, isn't that a beautiful thing? As dads, what do? We want to push no, give it for them. A lot of people, they don't get a chance to ride in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. We hear the stories all the time. Grown men, it's been our dream, a lot of us, and some of us are foolish enough to go buy one. We did.
We are.
Right? That's us. So share it, Matt, right? And that's what you're doing. That's what I've done. So I did so many laps until I'm sure all of my neighbors, this is 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, Father's Day, and this thing, downtown, high rises, echoing through the entire downtown of San Diego. But I just kept on going until my car was literally like, I'm getting hot and tired. So we let it rest for a half hour, and I went out and I did it again. We probably gave 50 rides, and it was so much fun. And I got to converse with these guys. Yep. So it's sharing it, right? Yep. And I can't tell you, the coolest part, getting back to it, were how many dads, we push our kids first. No, I want my son, I want my daughter to enjoy this. And I said, no, guys, this is what's good about dads. We'll always do what's best we want them to experience it. Every dad that I drove around the block, none of them had ever been in an exotic car. Not many of us have.
You know what I just added to mine?
What's that?
So we did a little tour locally with America's Best Restaurants with the Lamborghini. I bought a bunch of Lamborghini models, the exact model.
Yes!
And
I know where you're going with it.
And so I've now got 2 of them in the front of the trunk.
Yeah.
Not that big.
Yeah, the front.
There's 2 of them in there. And if I see a kid, I give it. But I'm adding something to it. So I'm at a restaurant the other day.
Yep.
We're shooting a restaurant in Erlanger, Kentucky, where I'm from.
Okay.
It's not a rich man's place.
Sure.
And this little boy is sitting there getting a picture of the Lamborghini with the toy. And this lady pulls up, no crap, says, "That's the closest you're ever getting to one."
Okay.
And I went, "Excuse me?" She goes, "That's the closest I'll ever get to one holding one." I said, "Oh, is that so?" I said, "Did you know I went to Lloyd High School and I'm from Erlanger, the same place he's from?" I said, "For all you know, he's going to have one in 10 years."
Yes.
And so what I'm writing up is I'm writing up a little half-page thing to talk about your dream. If this is your dream, here's how you make it happen.
Right.
And have it on there so little kids know that, hey, this is possible.
It's possible, right? But Matt, that's perfect because that's exactly how you pull something like that into the business, right? And that's what I say. Sometimes I'll still get, oh, he's just arrogant. But that is such the small percentage of people. Most people say, most humble guy you can ever meet, he's sharing it.
Yep.
And some people say, I don't know if I like it or I don't like it. It's like, no, like it. This is a good thing that's happening. We're inspiring people. Now, it was really tough when the pandemic first hit. Everybody was really concerned. So you have to know time and place, know your audience.
Yep.
I didn't bring the Ferrari around then.
Yep.
There was no need to.
Yep.
People weren't excited and feeling that.
Yep.
Then the economy starts, trucking back, so you have to know your audience. And right now, it's still a good time to have the Ferrari out and taking people for rides. And that's what I tell people. I want to encourage these little kiddos.
Yep.
And I give kiddos rides occasionally, and people reach out, and that's the double-edged sword, right? But any successful business, if you will, you're going to have people reach out and they need help, assistance, whatever the case might be. One of the things I love to do is I like to give kids that aren't medically doing that well.
Yeah.
And I love to make time out of my day, and I go and I give them rides in it. And it doesn't have to be a donut bar. People reach out. I've driven further than I should just to give a kiddo a ride, a 10-minute ride. But it makes their day.
Yep.
That's what it's all about, right? It's inspiring because that cost us nothing extra.
Yeah.
It's just fun sharing it.
Fun.
So I'm so happy that you're doing the same thing, Matt, and you're sharing the car. And it's going to also end the stigma because some people think, oh, if you have these exotic cars, these guys are real jerks. No. Yeah. Every car guy that I've met is an entrepreneurial type guy, and they're excited to share and talk about their story. So to your point with the model car, this is what I did. You can do the same thing. I went and I bought a whole bunch of little Ferrari Hot Wheels. And anytime I'm at Walmart, I'll find the Ferrari Hot Wheels and I have them in my car. And if a kiddo comes up, I don't give it to every kid in line. They get free donuts, donut bar. But if I'm out and about, I'll give them a Ferrari. You know, that's so cool. Just did it with my friend. He has a DeLorean, and I bought him a pack of DeLoreans. Then I'm like, give them out to kiddos. Like, dude, that's the perfect idea because I don't know. Whenever you're a caring guy, you just want to give a little bit more.
By the way, it's a cool documentary on Netflix, the DeLorean, the John DeLorean story.
Yeah, it's awesome, right?
His
Absolutely.
son, when they got done with the episode, they were interviewing his son. He lives in Covington, Kentucky, right next to the Brent Spence Bridge, and we were just at the other day. But it's a sidebar. But it was a cool documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, the story behind DeLorean's amazing, right?
So, restaurant owners, did you know Matt has free online marketing courses that teach you how to successfully market your restaurant? Email support@mattplapp.com to get access to the courses and a free social media content calendar.
The way I end every podcast, I already know the answer to this one. It's an easy one. Is I always ask, what's your airplane mode? What do you do when you leave Donut Bar to get your mind out of it and to enjoy life and get something? I'm going to guess your airplane mode is going fast in the Ferrari down the coast.
Absolutely. So go. Is that the question already? You ready for me to answer it?
Yeah.
100%, and that's what I tell people. And this probably brings it to where people are like, dang, he really is humble because they can catch me live every Saturday, Sunday. I absolutely go live on Instagram or Facebook, even though I am here a legit 7 days a week. My airplane mode is there's no vacations. I drive my car to and from work, and that's my decompress and my build up. Whenever I leave, I'm like, wow, this is my reward, if you will, one of them. Getting to drive my car home, and I really enjoy it. Yep. I'm so lucky that I actually have something that I enjoy that I can do that with, and I decompress. On my way to work, it reminds me how hard and the reasons why we work like we do. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. I've had horrible jobs before. Not the Ritz Four Seasons type, they were great. talking in between and before. We've all had those bad jobs, and we need those bad jobs so we can appreciate what we have, right? So that's what it is for me. It's my cars. And I don't want to say I love going fast because it's not about that, but I do have this little part of me that needs that adrenaline rush. I used to race motorcycles. Before I started this, I raced motorcycles for 10 years. And then I said, I'm hanging up my chef's coat, or I'm taking off my leathers and I'm putting my chef's coat back on. And that's where I am now. So no more motorcycles for the most part now. It's just the exotic fun cars. And if anybody out there has a Testarossa for sale, I'm really looking.
I want a Mercy.
Oh my goodness, you should see my friend's Mercy. He has the Grigio. There's only, I don't know how many of them. They're all limited, production, the colors. And he loves the thing. They're beautiful cars. There's no doubt about it. Hit the stick in there, and you're going to be happy. Is the Gallardo stick?
No, it's the E-Gear.
The E-Gear? Okay, good.
But, the 6-speed Mercy gated is my goal.
And they look beautiful. I travel behind them. We do a lot of car rallies together and weekend trips, and I can't tell you how excited I am every time I'm just driving behind the thing. Looks beautiful. It's timeless. I don't know how it's set so low. I'm in a Ferrari, and it looks like I'm looking down at it. They're just a beautiful car. They make one in orange, don't they?
I think they do.
You're pretty lucky. Good thing you like Lambos, right?
Well, hey, we've stolen too much of your time today. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Matt.
I think it's time to wrap it up and end the episode. So
we're gonna have a donut?
We're gonna have a donut.
My goodness.
That's all we got. MPTV, Chef Santiago, Donut Bar, downtown San Diego. We'll see you later.
Homer Boston cream.